And in this crash, Your Honor, he set his car on autopilot at 70 miles an hour, driving into Ann Arbor in rush hour. Everyone who lives in Michigan knows Ann Arbor traffic is backed up both ways, coming and going. And he did this in the middle of the afternoon.
This case is one of the most gut-wrenching court moments you'll ever witness. We're in Michigan, where Seth Hoare faces sentencing for a car crash that killed Jeremy Cornett, a young man with a family who loved him deeply. What makes this case so emotional is not only the devastating loss, but also the raw humanity inside this courtroom. Parents who lost their only son, a girlfriend who was on the phone with him at the moment of his death, and a mother who, unbelievably, chooses forgiveness. But here's the twist. While the defense fights for leniency, the judge must decide between compassion and punishment. And trust me, the outcome will shock you. Stick around, because this case is about to take you on an emotional roller coaster of grief, forgiveness, and justice. If you think courtroom drama is dry, this will prove you wrong.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ashley Lonnie for the people.
Hey, good morning, Your Honor. Dan Guerin on behalf of Seth Highmore. Seth, can you state your name to the judge, please?
Seth Highmore.
Okay. Go ahead. Here. Your Honor, we are here for a sentencing. I'll start first with there are no factual corrections of the information. I understand there's victim statements. Would you like to hear those first?
Yes.
Certainly. We'll have a seat at council table if that's okay.
Yes.
Your Honor, I typically will have 3 statements this morning.
That's fine. All right.
First will be victim's mother.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing well.
Good morning to you.
Can you state your name for me, please?
I'm Gina Cornett, Jeremy's mother.
All right.
I'm Earl Cornett, father.
All right. Very good. All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
Your Honor, it's been 2 years on Friday.
Let me just stop you for a moment, okay? Do me a favor. Just make sure to take a deep breath. Take whatever time you need. I'm here all day, so you just,
Okay,
I want you to tell me what you want to tell me. So,
okay.
all right. So don't try to rush through or anything. Go ahead.
Notice how the judge pauses here to comfort Jeremy's mother. This might seem small, but legally and emotionally, it's huge. Judges are often portrayed as cold, but moments like this show they recognize the unbearable weight families carry into these rooms. By telling her to take her time, he's giving her voice power. It ensures her victim impact statement becomes central to sentencing. And here's something for you. Do you think emotional victim statements should influence sentencing decisions as much as they do? Should justice be purely legal, or should it carry the full weight of grief and forgiveness too?
Well, like I was saying, Friday would be 2 years that our son was killed in a horrific car accident. And you can't even imagine the loss that has happened to us in our family, the void that has been put in our lives. We don't have our son with his kids to visit us every weekend. We miss him on the holidays, especially Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. There's such a void. What has happened has impacted not only us, but our grandchildren. Jeremy's daughter, Aubrey, she's had to have counseling because of the horrific feelings that she's had to feel losing her dad. And Dominic kind of suppressed right now. And she has seen a psychiatrist, Aubrey has.
This moment highlights what's often overlooked in cases like this: the ripple effect. It's not just one life lost, it's children needing counseling, families collapsing under grief, generations scarred. In legal terms, this is called victim impact beyond the deceased. Courts do weigh these ripple effects when determining sentencing. But think about this: if a child's trauma lasts a lifetime, How should that measure against the defendant's punishment? Should the law find a way to factor in these ongoing consequences, or is that impossible to quantify?
And I like to say to Seth Heiminer that he has to carry his cross for what has happened. I don't hate him. I forgive him. You know, I forgive that. I can't even imagine. But I just forgive him, and I just hope that down deep in his heart, he realizes the impact that he's done to this family.
Now here's the shocker. Despite losing her only son, Jeremy's mother says she forgives Seth. Imagine that, standing in court, facing the man linked to your child's death, and choosing forgiveness. From a psychological perspective, forgiveness often helps victims heal, but legally, it doesn't erase accountability. Her statement could soften the judge's sentencing, but it also raises a burning question. If the victim's family forgives, should the system still punish? What do you think? Does forgiveness change justice, or should justice stand apart from personal grace?
Our son didn't have a chance. He was just killed so fast and instantly. It just was horrible. And here's a picture of our son, Lord, Your Honor.
My eyes were better, but
I would like everyone to see his face. He's a happy-go-lucky kid. And I just feel, Your Honor, that whatever you decide on Seth's sentencing, my feelings is that, I feel that he don't have to do whatever the max time that he has, but I feel he should at least do 3 months in jail to think about what he done to us. And I think that that's fair enough because he needs time to think about this. He does not even probably realize the impact he's done to this family. And I just want to say that I don't hate him. I pray for him, but he should be able to realize that what he's done has just been horrible. And that's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I've been thinking about this for 2 years now. It's been very hard. There's 2 officers come on that night at midnight, knock on the door, and give you some terrible news that your son was killed. I talked to them for 10 or 15 minutes and they left. And I turned around to my wife. I goes, what did they just tell me? It didn't register in my mind. And since then, I've been on anxiety pills 2 years now because it was such a shock, I guess, to me and the children and our family. A parent shouldn't have to bury their own child. He was our only son and have to bury him. It was terrible. And in this crash, Your Honor, he set his car on autopilot at 70 miles an hour.
This is a key detail. Autopilot at 70 miles per hour during rush hour traffic. This isn't science fiction, it's a real-world issue. Cars with semi-autonomous features still require full driver attention. Legally, Seth's decision to rely on autopilot counts as negligence because the law views the driver, not the machine, as responsible. And here's the kicker. This case could foreshadow future battles as more self-driving cars hit the road. Do you trust autopilot technology? Or should courts be even harsher when drivers misuse it like this?
Driving into Ann Arbor in rush hour. Everyone who lives in Michigan knows Ann Arbor traffic is backed up both ways, coming and going. And he did this in the middle of the afternoon. And I think he needs some common sense. I think common sense should have told him better than that, Your Honor. And I'm going to leave it to the discretion of the court and probation, the sentence, and I'm not going to recommend anything. And I'm going to said that my wife and me will pray for the Highmore family because I know it's cost them a lot too. A very, very sad thing. And I want to thank you, Your Honor, for listening to us.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Sherry Krogel, and I was the deceased was my boyfriend at the time. We were on the phone when it happened, so for 2 years, hearing on and off, trying to figure out what was going on. I've went through a lot of different emotions on how I feel on the situation. He was my best friend. You can't get that back. But I don't personally feel that all lives should be ruined. So for me, what I think would be more beneficial, and I don't know if it would even be able to be a consideration, is that he was to have to take time out of his life to go to like a driver's ed or a school and talk about.
Jeremy's girlfriend just made one of the most unusual yet powerful requests. Instead of harsh punishment, make Seth teach others about the dangers of distraction. Legally, this falls under restorative justice, where the focus shifts from punishment to prevention. It's rare, but courts sometimes order community service tied directly to the crime. And here's a thought: is this the most meaningful sentence? Because if Seth can stop just one more reckless driver, Jeremy's death might save lives. Would you consider that true justice? Or does it feel too lenient?
You know, just 1 second of not paying attention, because if it could change one person's life for the better, that's what I think. I don't think more lives need to be ruined over an accident. That's it.
Thank you.
Nothing further from the people.
All right.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, I say without any hesitation that, the two most difficult tasks and I think most defense attorneys face are, one, standing up after a victim statement that was, especially one with such grace, humility, and emotion that those poor people had to go through. And I certainly extend my sympathies to them on behalf of Mr. Highmore. And secondly, is to try to make sense of these types of cases, these types of charges, which I think we all agree in the system are the most emotional, most difficult cases to sort out.
The defense admits it. Cases like this are the hardest. Why? Because the law usually deals with intentional crimes, theft, assault, murder. But here the crime stems from negligence, not malice. That's what makes juries, judges, and even attorneys wrestle so hard. Should someone who didn't mean harm face years in prison? Or is accountability about the harm caused, not the intent? This is where law and morality collide, and you can feel that tension building in this courtroom.
Because they are the only, or if not the only, one of the only offenses that bring accidental and negligent conduct into a criminal courtroom like today. But we're ready to deal with that. And I want to start with some cold and sterile requests, Your Honor. One, I think I mentioned, Your Honor, in chambers, I would ask Your Honor to either order restitution today with the condition that may be revisited if, in fact, that was contemplated in the civil lawsuit that was settled, or to reserve restitution for a short amount of time while I talk to the insurance attorney. Secondly, Your Honor, of course, I'm asking you to follow the recommendation I can't sit here and say I'm asking to impose jail time on my client. That would be difficult for me to say, but I do think that Ms. Polera understands her role very well and made a very good recommendation here. And if Your Honor believes that jail time is appropriate, my client is ready to go in today, of course. Your Honor, I will say this. As we look at the conduct here, I think that the victims are probably searching for an answer as to what happened. I would be too, if my loved one was killed or injured, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to offer that. Mr. Highmore doesn't have much of a memory. The police investigation didn't show that he was doing anything by way of reckless conduct, drinking, using drugs, using his phone. They checked all of those things. I think this was a situation in which Mr. Highmore simply either zoned out, didn't pay attention, and possibly we've learned a little bit about his medical condition since. He had worked a 14-hour shift in the sun, dehydrated, and certainly his actions have resulted in the death of this poor young man. I will say, of course, Your Honor, that Mr. Highmore has no prior criminal history, no subsequent criminal history. This was, of course, 2 years ago. I think Ms. Polera noted that my client has shown remorse. He can't say a lot, unfortunately, because of potential civil liability. But I think his emotion, his family, all of whom are here, have written letters to say what a good young man this was and is, and I think will be affected the rest of his life. He's lost his privileges to drive. He's convicted, doesn't pale in any way in comparison to what the victims have gone through here. But I think that the impact on him has been profound. I think that the victim's mother, her desire for him to be impacted, I think will come true and has come true, and that he has been greatly impacted. So, Your Honor, I am ultimately asking you to follow the recommendation with those modifications.
Yes,
Ms. Levy.
Yes, I saw. Thank you, Your Honor. As to the restitution issue, just so the record is clear, the restitution that's been recommended by probation to be ordered was simply for the funeral expenses for the victim. So there was a civil lawsuit that may or may not have included those funeral expenses. Certainly did include other monies paid, but that is, just so the record is clear, the only thing that probation ordered was for the funeral.
And as indicated, Your Honor, certainly we would never challenge the amount. It's just whether that was covered. And if not, then that will be certainly part of my client's order to pay back immediately.
Restitution. This is the court's way of ensuring families aren't left with crushing financial burdens. Here it's about funeral expenses. But think about the irony. No amount of money can replace a son, yet courts are forced to put a price tag on tragedy. The judge is carefully clarifying whether insurance already covered these costs. It might sound technical, but it's crucial, because every dollar here represents both justice and accountability. Do you think money can ever serve as justice in cases of death? Or is it just a cold legal formality?
Well, let me just deal with that. The record should reflect that I had a in-chambers conference with counsel. That issue was raised. And I will say that I'm going to order that restitution amount today. If it was covered either by an insurance or through some lawsuit, then one of two things then would happen if that was indeed paid, well, specifically directed toward those expenses. And so I want to be clear on that. If out of the settlement, the family used some of those funds to bury their child, that doesn't count in my book. It would have to be something that would have specifically been directed toward those expenses. If that was paid, then one of two things would happen to the amount paid by the defendant. Either it would go back to the defendant or would go to the insurance company, which paid the funds to the family. So,
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you for that clarification.
Let me just say at the outset, I think particularly to both families, all the years I've been on the bench, these types of cases, either in terms of adjudicating them or in terms of sentencing, are absolutely the worst. And they're the worst from my standpoint because in a lot of ways, sometimes you have sort of, I don't want to really call it good and evil, but you have somebody who is bad, and it's easy to then point the finger and to do something. But typically, and as I was going through the defense's letters that he sent in, and hearing about him, I would just indicate that, and then hearing about the deceased in this case, these aren't bad people, either side of it.
This is where the judge humanizes both sides. He says neither family is made of bad people. That's not something you hear in most criminal cases. Usually, courts separate villains from victims. But here, negligence, not evil, caused a life to be lost. And that distinction changes everything. It forces us to ask, if tragedy strikes from carelessness rather than malice, how do we define justice? Should it be punishment or rehabilitation?
And so it becomes problematic sometimes for the court. I'll say problematic, but it's what I have to do. I have to find some balance in terms of what I do. Before I continue, I guess, sir, is there anything you want to say? I do have to offer that to your allocution.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I am extremely sorry for what happened at the incident. And if there's anything I could do to change it, I promise I would. And that's all, Your Honor.
I will tell you folks, I have been thinking about this since the time of the plea. Particularly last night, it was what to do was weighing very heavily on me. And I could just share one thing with you, and I have certainly other thoughts. But as I was thinking about your family, and I had not met you, I don't think I had ever laid eyes on you. But I was sitting there and I received a text from my son. And it was something silly. I mean, he had charged my Amazon account for something he was buying. And he wanted to pay me back and put it back into my account. I thought about it for a minute, and it doesn't really mean much, but I told him it didn't matter to me. And it didn't matter to me because I heard from him. And I thought about you guys. And just the sadness that you don't get that text message. I don't know. I can't even imagine how you guys feel. People can say, though, that they want to put themselves in your place and can't imagine it, can't do it. I don't think you can be there till you're there. And then you don't know. To listen to Dad say that there were two officers talking to him, and it's just not registered. I don't even know how you receive that kind of news. And what's difficult, certainly, is and hard to explain and hard for human beings to accept, is when the natural order of things are in place. We're not supposed to bury our children. We're just not. And it really almost calls, when something like that happens, for you to try to figure out kind of figure out the world. Like I said, I have never met you before, but ma'am, you're a testament to what is good. I don't know the strength and the courage it took. Sir, you need to realize the extraordinary gift she gave you today. Because I don't know, I'd like to think of myself as a good person, but I don't know that I could get there, stand there, give a victim's impact statement where this had happened to my child and ever forgive you. And for her to come here and basically that's the first thing out of her mouth. There's probably nothing greater than a mother's grace.
The judge stops here to praise Jeremy's mother's forgiveness, calling it mother's grace. And make no mistake, this isn't just a poetic line, it's the foundation of his sentencing decision. Judges don't just weigh laws, they weigh humanity. A mother's forgiveness, rare as it is, can shift the balance from maximum punishment to a tempered ruling. But imagine being in her shoes. Could you forgive the person responsible for your child's death? Be honest, would you be capable of that level of grace?
Ma'am, I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Certainly with me today. Every day I always expect that there's going to be a miracle. I never know what it's going to be. Your words, in my mind, were that today for me. And to his girlfriend, I would just say, I can't imagine. And I wasn't aware of it till you said it, that you were on the phone with her. Just trying to move on. And that's hard. And again, I don't know where, when that happens, you even begin. I respect all of you in terms of your courage to come forth and to give those statements that you gave. And for waiting all of this time as our system kind of worked itself through to even get to this day. I realize no matter what I do, with all the power and all the everything that comes with this robe, I can't do the thing that I would wish to do most. And that is to bring back your son and your best friend. I don't have that power. God knows I wish I did. I can only try to make it as right as I can.
This moment reveals the brutal limitation of the justice system. The judge openly admits he can't bring Jeremy back. All he can do is try to make it as right as I can. That's the essence of sentencing in cases like this. It's not about fixing the unfixable, but about balancing accountability with compassion. Courts can't heal grief, they can only shape consequences. Does that feel like enough? Or does it leave justice always incomplete in cases of loss?
And sometimes people come to court and they don't think that they're listened to. I heard every word that each of you said. And I will tell you that even into this evening and certainly thereafter, your words, your grace will be with me. And I will hear it over and over. I don't think you guys realize, and again, like I'll say it again, I don't know you when you got up here, all three of you. You guys are extraordinary. It sometimes is not what I get when victims give their statements. Dad, I'll tell you one thing that I did, so I'll just disclose it. You had numerous conversations with Miss Polera, my probation. And as I was going through that, I would always ask, and maybe I did this because I'm a dad myself. And I would always ask Miss Polera when I'd see her in the hallway or I'd see her wherever, how's Dad doing? And she'd tell me that sometimes you were here, and then sometimes you were here, and then sometimes you were here. And all of that was normal. But I wanted to let you know that I was checking on you. Can't make it better, but Miss Polera was sending that information through to me all the time. And for all of you, what I do is I just wish you peace. It is a sentence of the court. I'm going to place you on 24 months probation. You are to pay $855 fines and court costs, $720 probation oversight fees, $4,291.20 restitution.
Here come the hard numbers. Probation, fines, restitution. 2 years probation may sound light to some, but combined with restitution and restrictions, it's meant to be a constant reminder. Courts often design these sentences to impact daily life long after the trial ends. But here's the bigger debate: do fines and probation actually deliver justice, or do they reduce tragedy into financial and bureaucratic terms? What's your take? Fair consequence or legal checkbox?
Earl Cornett payable through the court. When can you pay that?
Take a little time, Your Honor, but I will make sure it's paid off in full as soon as possible.
Do you have anything with you today?
I'm due, but I'm not exactly sure the exact amount. I'm going to be getting a loan from my family to help pay it.
From who?
My family, Your Honor.
How much can be paid today?
Do you want your dad to try to answer that?
Yes.
Your Honor, may his dad help with that answer? That's okay.
That's fine.
Scott, where are you? It's indicated 500 today, Your Honor. They have 1,000, Your Honor.
$1,000 today. I wanted it immediately checked into regarding the restitution so that when that $1,000 is paid, if the restitution is to go to the family, I want that to go to the family. I'll deal with the fines and costs probation. I don't care. But
Do you want that $1,000 put into bond for right now to hold it until we know, Judge?
yeah, I want it held until there's a determination. If it's supposed to go to the family,
I see. So it can be paid towards restitution.
it can be paid toward restitution, and then we'll figure it out. But it won't be much. But we can do that. That amount needs to be paid in cash. So however they have to make that happen, it's got to be paid that way, so that it can be paid out to the family.
And then, Your Honor, I'll try to get the answer from the insurance attorney as quickly, maybe even today if possible.
Very good. There is to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal substance. You'll be subject to random testing as requested by probation. You are to complete a driver improvement course as directed by probation. Going to, when it says that people aren't listened to, and I'm sorry, ma'am, what was your name again? I did not write it down, and I'm
Sherry.
Sherry.
Sherry and Gina, Your Honor.
All right. Sherry, I'm going to take your recommendation to the court. It struck me as something, when you said, I don't want to ruin everybody's life, but maybe something good can come out of this. I say we give it a shot. So one of the things that I'm going to order is that I'm going to increase the number of community service hours. and I'm going to order 250 hours of community service, specifically with the extra 150 that I've added. I want that directed toward community service and talking to kids about how.
And here it is. The judge actually takes the girlfriend's suggestion and makes it law. Seth will spend hundreds of hours speaking to kids about safe driving. This is extraordinary. Instead of punishment alone, it turns tragedy into prevention. Legally, this blends punitive and restorative justice. He pays for his crime, but also educates others. It's rare to see courts embrace such creative sentences. Do you think this should become common practice, or is it too soft on offenders?
To operate a vehicle safely and to pay attention, and what the consequences of not doing that can be. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that meet kind of what you were thinking of? I am also going to order and add a condition. I realize that his driving privileges in the state of Michigan are suspended, but I'm going to order no driving so that if he is caught driving in any respect whatsoever, that would be a violation of his probation, as opposed to some sanction from the Secretary of State. Regard to jail, incarceration. The recommendation here is for the 45 days. When I walked out, I will tell you, certainly because I was going to listen to everybody, that I had not decided whether there was going to be any jail time, whether there was going to be the maximum amount of jail time. But I think Mom's right. Whatever happened, because there's not really an explanation, which is probably also difficult. It might be easier even if one were to hear, I wasn't paying attention and this would happen. Just something. But it's just absent. There's nothing. Over 365 days in jail, credit 4 days. And will indicate that defendant will be remanded to the Washtenaw County Jail. I am changing the recommendation of probation. Defendant will serve 90 days.
There it is. The final hammer drops. 90 days in jail. The judge goes against the probation recommendation and imposes real jail time, but less than the maximum. Why? Because he balanced the family's forgiveness with the need for accountability. It's the middle ground punishment without destroying Seth's life. But let's be clear, 90 days behind bars will change him forever. Do you agree with the judge's balance here, or would you have gone harsher?
And during those 90 days, I hope you take the time to do with that woman that bestowed grace upon you today of forgiving you. That you do that you think about this, and that you think about what has happened and just what your inattention and action, what that does to this family, what it's done to your family. So you will serve 90 days. The balance of that time will be suspended. There is also defendant is remanded.
This case is a powerful reminder of how fragile life is, and how justice is never simple. We saw parents grieving their only son, a girlfriend shattered by loss, and yet, a mother choosing forgiveness over hate. We saw a judge trying to balance accountability with humanity, ordering both jail time and community service that could prevent future tragedies. And we saw how negligence, not malice, can still destroy lives. What do you think? Was justice served here? If you found as gripping as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.